everybody. Welcome to another version of the Good Life. And as you know, last time we talked about technology leveraged service models and the role of technology in the future design of how services are delivered. I love the conversation, and I really suggest that you go take a listen to that before you hear this session. Today, we're assuming that you have, and we're going to go a little bit more deeper into the technology that we offer at iLink Technologies. But, just to say one thing is that, our goal is we want to deliver services organically that sort of ebb and flow around needs. And we want to do it in a way that is in inclusive small homes where people can live and get the support they need, whether that support is virtual support or in-home support. But we want that person to be able to live the life that they really want in a home of their choosing, where services can just ebb and flow around needs organically. And of course, we believe to do that, you're going to need an infrastructure technology. And if you question that, then go back and listen to the last episode. But the bottom line is we want a home. We want what's envisioned by the final rule to come to life, and we can do that. But in order to do that, we're going to have to rethink how services are delivered. And just like for our own life, where we have a kind of embraced technology, and I think the pandemic, powered that forward, where we can, interact with people remotely. We can have a virtual life, and we can use technology, get all this clutter out of the way so that we can spend our time, money, resources, and life in a way of our own choosing. We're not traveling, we're not commuting, we're not, getting cluttered by things that we don't want to do. We can have things delivered. We can have all the technology help us with the things that get in the way of the life that we really want to lead. So let's start looking at the infrastructure, the technology infrastructure of iLink. And, this session, we're going to really talk about the in-home installations, and we're going to talk a little bit about iLink Assist, and a little bit about how remote support is done. Next time, and I'm saying that this time is going to be from the viewpoint of the customer, which is the person that we support. Next time, we're going to do it from the viewpoint of the remote professionals that help people. And we'll interact and see that side of the technology as well. So here, we're going to start talking about in-home installation and what that looks like. The beauty of iLink is that it's basically completely wireless system. And through many, many years of sort of morphing and changing and improving, the system is completely wireless, and we have kind of a base system that allows an infinite upgradable opportunities as you want more features and supports and capabilities. So you can start with a really basic system and then add more to it without changing anything other than adding. And we've designed it that way so that people can, get a system in place that takes care of some of their basic needs. But as they get more comfortable with it or get more skilled with it, they can add more features. So let's go over the system that's kind of the base system. This is what is called our base unit. And this is what's connected. This is connected to traditional internet. And really, it doesn't require super fast internet. It's really common internet. And in fact, you can share the internet with other features in the home usually. So it's not like you have to have anything special. So this is the base unit. And all the componentry in here exists and sort of makes everything of the home work and is smart. But it also is upgradable so that you can add more features to it. And let's talk about what we have right here. Privacy and self-direction are two really important things that I want to speak about. And our system is designed to advance privacy and self-direction way beyond what is possible with most any other approach we've seen, and certainly it advances it more than what's possible with even in-home staffing. So, with iLink and how it's configured, you can improve self-direction, which means you improve the person's ability to control their lives, and you can improve privacy in many, many ways, and we'll show that all the way through here. But let's start with a basic thing. We have an intercom system, and the intercom system allows us to basically have one tool for self-direction and just touch it, and that's the tool we use mostly. So a person that we support can get the help that they need. So in this case, I'm going to press this just to show you how it works. This will then go to a cloud-based system, very secure, and then it goes to a monitoring center and support center. In our case, it's iLink, but as an infrastructure, whatever agency and community provider we work with, this goes to wherever they want. One really important feature, this is also designed for self-direction. What that means is even self-directed services, this could work with an individual family, for example. So we set that up so that and this is configurable, this can go straight to a support center, but it also can go to any phone that you wish. It could be neighborhood staffing or in-home staffing who's sleeping, or it could be a family. It could be a manager before the intercom escalates to another source. So let me give an example. I'm going to press this, and you're going to see it's going to go to the cloud. It's going to then contact this phone, and then I'm going to not accept the call and show you how it can escalate up. Because if I accepted the call because the phone's so close, you would hear, an echo, which is common. So here we go. Now I'm going to decline it. I could have answered it. Now it continues.
iLink, this is Lauren.
Hi, Lauren. We're just demonstrating iLink technology. I hope that's okay. Would you mind doing me a favor?
Yeah.
And could you call back and just virtually knock so they can hear, what it sounds like when somebody calls the home?
Okay, yeah, and I apologize. Is it the 951?
Yes, it's 949.
949, okay.
All right,
Thank you.
This is our demonstration unit, so they didn't know the extension.
iLink, this is Lauren.
Hey, Lauren, this is Mike. Thanks again for showing that feature. I appreciate it.
No problem. You guys all have a great day.
Okay, and in a second, I'm also going to do the other phone so they can see this too.
Awesome.
All right, bye. By the way, we also have a brand new feature that's coming out, and actually it can be demonstrated probably very soon, but we now have the technology in place where if somebody's calling in, you saw that they virtually knocked, and that's a privacy feature. We want people to knock before they come in. But in addition to that, we have an option where they can also be, the person in the home can be required to press the button to let them in. So think about virtually knock, and the person has to press the button in order to let them in. Again, it's a privacy feature, but remember that those privacy features are configurable, and you can have them or not. But at the same time, there's consequences to that. So if you say you want that, then that means that somebody can't virtually knock and come in. So you have to really balance care against privacy in that and pick where you're comfortable with, if that makes sense. But it is in your control. Another option that could be in a bedroom or any other place is a phone. And this phone is the same thing as the intercom, except that it has to be picked up to be answered, another privacy feature. So if somebody calls, if you don't pick it up, it remains private. But the cool thing about the phone is it's made very simple for self-direction. We don't have to have somebody remember a phone number or have even a speed dial button to press. When you pick this up, it automatically calls, and you can't hear this, but it's going to call, in this case, iLink. Hi, Michelle. Thanks again. That's all I wanted to demonstrate. All right, bye now. So this too could have called the phone first before iLink, but I wanted to show you it could be either way, and so that's why I had it set up differently. But one of the nice features about this phone is it's so crystal clear. The sound quality, if there's anybody who has a hearing issue or things like that, that's really important. So I'm trying to give you all along here how everything is customizable and set up for privacy in ways that advance privacy in ways that was not possible before. And certainly you can't do this with in-home staff omnipresent, right? This is a way that you can get the support you need and decide how to balance privacy versus care based on a client's ability or a senior's ability to self-direct. But it also gives you a way to teach self-direction, because what we found, maybe with people with intellectual disabilities, they may not know how to self-direct, and we suggest programs on teaching people how to self-direct and have more control over lives. The thing that we've helped with is we made it simple. It's one thing. You just do one thing to self-direct. You don't have to do any complicated app. You don't have to remember any complicated phone number. You just pick it up or answer, and that's it. So anyway, a little bit about that. So that's the communication feature. So another part of that is when somebody calls, it can go to a phone, it can go to a family member, it could go to a neighborhood, it could go to a group of neighborhood staff even. So there's all kinds of ways. It can send texts. It could make an automated call. So there's lots of different variants of this to let you know how configurable it is. And that's made possible by iLink Assist. So that's this. Now, I want to kind of move on to some other features of this, because this is connected to a variety of sensors in a home. So think of smart home, you think of sensors. And our sensors are incredibly smart, but they may be sensors for motion, and they may be proximity or other kinds of sensors, or for when doors open or those sorts of things. When a stove is on, or a stove is too hot, or when water is on. I mean, the sensors that exist can be customized and be super varied based upon the individual's needs, but we have a standard installation too. The one thing I want to tell you about sensors though, sensors go on or they go off. They're different type. If you're too close, they go on, or if you're too far away, they go on, or if somebody gets out of the bed, potentially they go on. There's all kinds of sensors, and they just really do one function. They turn on and turn off. The reality is, what's really important is how that is interpreted. So and iLink Assist is a software platform created by us, and we're actually in our third release. So it's been in process for well over 15 years in development and R&D. And in essence, it's a logic-based system that makes sense out of all of these sensors. So just because you have sensors doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really help you. All it is like popcorn going off. And other programs, if they say that you're notified if a sensor goes off, if there's 50 sensors in a home, that doesn't really tell you anything if 50 sensors go off. What tells you is the logic of what does that mean. Let me give an example. Let's say that somebody after 11 o'clock gets up and they go to the restroom, and then they come back to bed within 5 minutes. So that's not really a problem, is it? Right? But what if they went to the bathroom and didn't come back within a certain period of time? Hey, you tell me, how long? When are you concerned? Is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15? There's a number where you're concerned. And that's where the configuration goes. But the point behind all of that, it's the software that takes all of those sensors of getting out of your bed, going to the bathroom, and coming back in a certain period of time that says, that's something you need to look into. But on the other side of it, the privacy side of it, it's that software that says, that's not a problem. And you don't need to look into it. I'm going to redefine that as it's privacy. Software is filtering out those kinds of sensor popcorn that goes off that doesn't need to be attended to, and filters in the times that really you need to maybe check in on somebody, right? So, and it's configurable by home. So let's say that somebody went into and started cooking, and then left, but left the stove on. It happens more times than you can possibly imagine. Or that it's on too late, or that it's too hot, or a variety of other things. Well, sensors can tell you a little of that. Software makes it meaningful. Software will say the stove is on and nobody's in the kitchen for a period of time, or it's on too late. Sensors don't tell you that. Software tells you that. So iLink Assist is the smart part of a smart home system. And it's a single platform for remote support professionals to be able to know when they need help. Without that, they would have to sort of live monitor and watch potentially all the time when it's not necessary. And of course, as you know, that's more intrusive than many people need or want. The software is driving the system so that it can filter out times where support isn't needed and in times when and filter in and pinpoint times when it is, and that's configurable. So, with that being said, there are other features that are optional within this system. This can be a system that has cameras or not have cameras. And so what we're going to talk about with cameras here in a bit is where they are right now and how that shows you how they too are sophisticated sensors and endless capabilities for privacy, way beyond what we can do with people. So we'll get to that in a minute, but I wanted to show you another little optional thing before we get to cameras, because we'll be doing that along the way. This, and you'll see it back here, is a kiosk. And we have it on a portable unit because I take this on the road and show people, but actually in the home, it's just a kiosk. It's kind of an all-in-one little kiosk that's real simple. And you can see it's totally touchscreen. We have these versions for person served, and we have them for staff, because this, as staff work with people who have complicated needs alone, and as you know, the stability of the workforce nationally, they need help, and they need help when they need help. So we have versions that are there to support staff who are working by themselves to support people with complicated needs, but we also have versions for staff, for clients that look different than this, that are there for them. So let me demonstrate a few things here. One of the things that we have is, and again, we are all about self-determination, so I'm going to show some features here. We have the ability for the person served, if they choose, or even the staff, to turn the cameras on and off should you want to have that capability balanced with care. That's, again, a configurable option. You don't have to have cameras all, but if you have cameras, you can turn them on and off at an option of the care team. And here's a simple example. There's multiple ways to do it. One way is, you see here's a wireless little switch, and you can basically hit, and I want you to notice something. The unit has a little green light here that lets you know that the camera is on. Also, we have fun little light bulbs that we configure, and you can put them around the house, because you may want to have a notification that the camera is on in the bedroom or in other parts of the house. So you'll see over here there's a light that's on, there's a light that's on. You can have multiple kinds of signals that the cameras are on to make sure people understand that somebody is helping them or able to help them if they choose, or even that the cameras are on so that they just simply know that from a privacy protocol point of view. Again, often this is in place of no staff at all. So here you have that, and I'm just going to press the red button. Watch the light. Watch those. I press this. That goes off. That goes off just like that. This thing could be put anywhere you want, or you could have multiple ones around the house. So you can self-direct when cameras are on and when they're off, if that's part of the self-direction capabilities. When that's off, that means that nobody can see and support, so as a protocol you develop, you may have somebody call a home through the intercom and say, hey, can I visit? And you go, yes, and then would you turn the cameras on? So it gives you all those protocols in place, like you're inviting somebody into your home, if that makes sense. So I'm going to turn it back on. There's the green button. You see that? So here's the kiosk over here. You can see the kiosk also has this feature differently. We literally could do this on the phone if we wanted to. So cameras on, here's cameras off. Again, when you do it, you can see even on the kiosk, it shows that the cameras are off. Or there you go. The cameras are on, like that. So self-direction, like you can't really imagine. And certainly you can't do this with staff, that you can't say, use the old bewitched strategy, I'm gone or I'm there. It's you're there or you're not. But here you have control of these sorts of things. We also want people to know, for example, who's helping them today. So just like anything else, our system is really designed for agencies to use to provide supports. It's not really a system where you're having somebody they don't know. So you may have a remote support professional in a neighborhood helping neighbors in need that they know well, or even people they like in our neighborhood network, which we'll talk about later, where professional neighbors are not only remotely helping people, but they're also doing in-home care, so they really know the people they're supporting well. But we want the people who are being supported to know who's helping them at that moment. So we have a system in place where you say, who's helping me? And you press that. They would see who actually is working now to help them. Now, I'm going to call iLink just to demonstrate this, and I'm going to have them do a shift change and demonstrate how they can move somebody out or somebody in to let them know that somebody else is helping at this time. So we'll press that. I'm going to decline that because, as you know, it went to that phone. Now,
iLink, this is Lauren.
hey, Lauren, would you mind doing a shift change and changing out who's helping me on that?
Okay, no problem.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So they're going to basically show you how, and we'll see it live here. It takes a half a minute. No, they didn't. So they added a person on that, and they could now, maybe she'll take it out. I don't know. Take it out to show that, there you go. So this shows you how we can change images of people that we record and we place in an archive, and when they start work, they slide in, that they're working, or they slide out after they leave. But it's a really important feature because we want people to know, who's helping them, especially if they're doing remote support. The other part of that is everybody that's helping them sometimes are usually people who also care for them in the home. So we've really developed relationships. So the person served really know who's helping them. And because these people help them in very active ways, so they help teach them skills or help them learn things that they may not know remotely, and they're taught how to be remote teachers and mentors and life coaches. They really get to know these folks, and we add that up. We give in-person opportunities as well for them to know. So anyway, that's that feature. Another feature of this is a thing called imaging, and that is cameras. And I'm going to point this out to you because there's an old-fashioned idea of what cameras are, and then there's new capabilities. And cameras can do anything from, capture crystal images of people. We even have special use cameras for looking at labels for medications, a variety of kinds of cameras that have certain functions to it. But what I want to show you here is some things you probably haven't seen before, which basically is going to open people's eyes that there's an endless gradient of privacy that you can architect, customize based upon what a customer wants. So you're not looking at seeing somebody, not seeing somebody anymore. Now there's a whole middle ground on this. And again, it's up to the care team and the family and the person served as what's best for them. The more you can see remotely, the more you can help and teach people how to do, and the more independent they can be. But you need to balance that against somebody's desire for privacy. But just remember, in-home staff, you can't do any of this with. And so you have no ability to architect privacy. In fact, they're completely either in the home or not. And so, please be mindful that you also have to understand that there's no free pass to in-home staffing with respect to privacy. In fact, if you look at all the issues of privacy laws and those sort of things, the privacy laws applied to in-home staff exactly as they are to remote support. And the privacy laws existed before technology ever existed, so they applied to staff. So we have to be mindful of that as we architect, how do you balance support against any invasion of privacy? And all care is invasive. Some more so and less than others, but none of in-home care possibilities can do what I'm about ready to show you. So all of our cameras look in 365 degrees at once, so at least all of the support cameras. So we don't have to have many cameras in a home. But what you'll see here is you'll see he's now digitized, standing in front of the door. He's now half digitized and half outline. You can see walking around. You see that the wall can be digitized and the environment can be digitized. So what I'm trying to explain here is you have the possibility of protecting people's images in a variety of different ways, or masking out walls and other things so that they can't see in this direction, but they can see over here. That if that door opens to the bathroom, you can't see in it, or if they don't want this area over here to be public, it's completely private. With cameras, because of how they're designed, they can let you know direction and other kinds of features that regular sensors can't do. They can have, you can say they're walking into a room versus walking out of a room. They can tell, whether that with the iLink assist logic, that you'll know who it is that's going into the bathroom and those sorts of things. So it's incredibly, facial recognition, everything is possible, and we'll be advancing with cameras, even to the point where you have thermal imaging cameras. And the interesting thing about that is there are people who may be incontinent, and thermal imaging cameras would only look at heat. And that can potentially tell you in a very near future that somebody's incontinent without having to check. And we all know how intrusive it is to check on incontinence. That's not okay. It's just necessary, right? We can make that better for people. So, I'm trying to give you like a little bit of a picture of the current now and the future of what's possible. And what's possible is a heck of a lot more than what we've done. And it shows you how virtual technology can break through these privacy barriers that we've been fighting forever. And also give you a great reason why people don't need to live in congregate care options, because we can support people in ways that we never thought were possible, right? One last feature, and then the next session we're going to talk about sort of iLink technology from the viewpoint of the people who help as opposed to the people who are helped. And that's more the focus this time. The last thing I'm going to talk about this session is technologies that are incredibly important. This one is called the simple in-out technology. All this is, if anybody's heard of EVV, this is a simple, very cost-effective technology to track when people are either in a home or not in a home. But all it requires is a phone. It requires no software on the phone whatsoever. So it's NFC, near field communication. That's the technology that's underneath these cards. They're little plastic cards. All they do is when you touch them, you may be able to hear this. You hear that? That was the in card, and this is the out card. And the point behind all that, this is a technology combined with iLink software that knows what to do with this. But when you touch the in, it will geolocate that you just timed in at this location. So it's not possible for them to be anywhere else. And it also starts the timer of how long they're here. This could be for staff that's supporting them for obvious reasons. You want to know who's there and for how long. It could be a person served on when they're leaving a home or coming into a home, and it simply is a communication technology. Now, the software takes that and does some wonderful things with it. For example, we can give reports for every staff person of which homes they were in and for how long. So managers, we can get reports, or staff, we can get reports. Or you can have a home view where in this particular home, here's all the people who visited it and for how long, and we know it all happened here. Another version of this, and we have other types, but just to give you an example, we have a bed check system. Now, some of the people we serve have really significant needs, and we are required to go in a bedroom and check on them periodically at night to make sure they're okay. But does that really happen in real life? We really don't know. What you have usually in real life is you have a log that's often at the end of their shift that they checked so many times. But do you really know they did that? And the answer is no. And our research is saying, well, they really often don't do it that way, because sometimes when they check on people, they wake them up, but it's necessary for care. But if you wake people up, then it may cause more work for people. So you see people who sometimes, fudge on that information because they want to let people sleep. But if care requires it, you want to make sure that they do, right? So the bed check basically is a simple card like this that's called bed check, and it goes in a room. And the programming, the iLink smart component to it, is a program that says, okay, here's Fred. How often are you supposed to check on him at night, and at what time intervals do you need to check on him? And it's configurable, so it could be 3 times a night, or every hour, or twice a night, whatever you want, right? So you configure that in the cloud for Fred. Well, what happens is we don't really need to know, iLink doesn't need to know, or your own professionals don't need to know if they've done it. They need to know if they haven't done it, right? So what would happen is if they're supposed to have done it by 2 in the morning, and it's 5 till 2, and they haven't done it, a sensor, that will turn it into an alert that they haven't done it, they haven't pressed this, they haven't touched it. iLink, we get a notification, and so they would then go back and kind of prompt people to do it. Now, you could have them get a notification 5 minutes after if that's what you want, but if you want to make sure they did it on time, it could be before 2. Again, it's configurable when all of those things happen. Really important technology, and it shows you the interaction between technology and software. So technology without software doesn't help you much. And a lot of people who have remote support systems don't have software. They just have technology. That means they have to constantly sort of monitor live, which is intrusive. It doesn't mean you can't do it with this technology. It just means that we're not relying on humans, and we're not relying on the error that humans can have because of technology. So that's a couple examples, and the last one I'll end with is our FYI system, and that's for your information. Again, it's these cards, and what it does is just with one tap of the card, it will go straight to audio, video, or text, and it's all configurable. An example of this could be a card that's on the refrigerator that says Fred's allergies. You tap that card and it comes up and says, oh, he's got a peanut allergy. And then a nurse goes to the doctor with Fred, and they find out he has another allergy. On the cloud software, they put that down for Fred, and of course you don't have to do anything to change the color or anything. It's just now, he now has 2 allergies. Now, with staffing and changes and instability and just everything you have to keep in mind, having these kinds of information where it comes up to text or audio is really important, or video. And an example of video is, let's say you have a lift in a van, and those lifts are complicated on how to do them, how to operate them, and you teach a staff person at some point in time how to do that, but every lift could be different. They are different. So we would have a FYI card on the lift, and if you tapped it, we go straight to a video of how to do that lift for people who may forget. Helpful hints, in the home of how to work with Fred or Barney or Mary or whoever, might be on the bedroom door on that, so they could tap and look at, helpful hints on that. So those are some examples of how FYI, it goes directly to audio, video, or text. with one tap. It's used both for persons served who may want to know how to make oatmeal, or it could be used for staff that support them that may need to know, how to run a behavioral program, or how to important phone numbers for this particular person they're serving, or care instructions at night that are on the door. It gives the information exactly when and where it's needed so that you can give somebody information at the moment of need. One other cool in-home support for iLink that I think is incredible is a very simple method to self-direct or receive help from other people in a simple video conference method. I mean, this is where a nurse would be connected to a home to help somebody or to help a staff person with a medical follow-up need or a medical need. It could be where a staff person would connect with a behavioral analyst who would help them with a behavioral need or to coach them on how to address a behavioral need. It could be connected simply to a manager so that they could actually have a discussion with either a person served or a staff person on how to either care for somebody better or to how to get information about something that they needed. So again, like everything else, we want things to be very simple and we want to be very effective. So if you go to our kiosk and you hit telehealth clinic button, and this goes into a queue and it's answered in the order that it is answered. And she already, hi Mindy, how are you?
Hi.
So this could be a behavioralist, or it could be a manager, or it could be Mindy. And Mindy's helping us today, but this is how nurses would follow up. And how are you today, Mindy?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good. Listen, thank you for showing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, take care.
All right, bye now. So with that system, she could have also taken over. For example, let's say a staff person didn't know how to do an EMR system for administrating medication, or they couldn't figure out how to do it, or they were having trouble doing it. They could ask their manager to help them. That manager can actually take over the system and demonstrate to them remotely how to do an EMR, thing with medication, so that they could administrate medications and document it appropriately. Maybe they didn't understand how to do it, or maybe something wasn't working the way it should. So it allows the person to have a conversation while they're being helped, and they also can control various automations and other kinds of things. The main thing is it's simple. People who are being supported, I don't care whether they're direct support staff that are new or as a person served, they have to have the ability to get help. And if you can't get help to every little small home that's inclusively in the community where people really want to live, then you've given everybody the great reason why they have to have the care congregated. And this is how you deliver services in remote homes with technology. So all of this are examples of how we have tried to develop in-home technology through iLink. Next week, we're going to look at it from the remote coach's viewpoint, or the next episode, we'll look at it from the remote coach's viewpoint and talk to you about how that works. But if I can leave you with this thought, and that is this. Our goal is to deliver care to the vision of the final rule. We want people to live as independently as possible with the supports that they need to live their own version of a good life. Technology lets that happen in a way that we can balance care and safety and support in the least intrusive way possible, in ways that can be configured for privacy and control that can never be done except for technology. And with that, I'll leave you for today, and have a good life.